Hello and welcome back to Smart ER, and today I'm going to fit a new AGM battery to my neighbour's Smart for 4, and it's the same process for the Smart for 2. So first things first, I need to get the bonnet off, service hatch cover, and we need to get these straps off. So they're just held on by Torx bolts. I believe they're a Torx 10. There's only two holding them on, and it's the same Torx 10 you need to undo the clamp for the battery retainer. Here's a better look, and these are the culprits we're going to remove. So apologies, it's going to be a bit of a long video, and here's the Torx 10. I thought I'd do it in quite detail because some people have told me that they're quite nervous about doing it. This might be because of old perceptions with radio codes, but obviously on the Smart 453 range, that's the Smart for 4 or the Smart for 2, there are no such codes. You literally swap out the old battery and you pop in the new one. And there are a couple of types of batteries, and there are some gel types, I believe, but the AGM Alpha Golf Mike AGM batteries, they're the ones to go for. And we'll have a look at the one that we chose in a little while. And there we go. These are the beginning of the removal of the Torx bolts for the straps. So why is it so important to get an AGM battery? Well, they're heavier duty and they are more reliable, and these smart cars, particularly the Smart 453 range, seem particularly sensitive to electrical gremlins when you do get low on power, when they start to become unserviceable. So as you can see, it's quite a simple process, but trust me, I'm sure there's some smart aleck out there that can get the battery out without doing this, but I'm not going to risk damaging the service hatch cover, the bonnet. So we do need to remove it, really, just to make it easier for ourselves. Now, as you see, I'm moving it away from the retainers, but there's still something attached, and that is the water feed to the washer nozzles, and there was a fight. And it did take me a little while. I think I was just nervous because it wasn't my car. I didn't want to cause any damage or have to cut hoses, etc. Just needs a pull. Be confident. So there we are. It finally comes off, and with my glamorous assistant, we managed to get the bonnet off and now have full access to the service hatch area. Quite interesting to see the little lugs and retaining elements that we have here. Here's a better look for you. So what I do is I do take up the Torx bolts and I put them back in there so they don't get lost, and here is the offending article. So there is the battery we're going to be changing, and this one just pulls up. Just the cover just pulls up like that, so set it to one side. And at first it can look a little bit daunting. We've got two bolts here and one there. They're both 10mm bolts. They literally just undo. And again, just be methodical. Here we go. I'm using a deep socket, a 10mm deep socket, just because it was easier to hand, but a standard one should do fine. So I'm not going to make you watch in slow motion me undo nuts, I'm sorry. But I would, as you take it off, I always take off the earth side first, and then the live side second. Earth being black and the live being red. There you go. And set them to one side after you've pulled off the little clamp that connects the power leads into the vehicle itself. So carefully separate them, and I've not done this before, so it is quite simple. Just need to be a bit methodical, but you can't just pull it out because remember we have a retaining strap, sort of a bracket which has that Torx. There he is, that Torx 10 bolt that's clamping it down. You can just about make it out there. The rusty Torx 10 bolt and the plate. Well, I'll pull out the plate in a second and you'll be able to see it. I'm using a long extension bar, and you really do need it, because there's no way you're going to get a standard wrench socket down there. So luckily here's one I prepared earlier. I was thinking it would benefit if you had some sort of magnetic bar, a little tool, and then I realised I did have one. It was the spark plug socket that I bought for the video I did on removing the spark plugs, so I probably could have used that. But or a long grabbing tool, you can get those as well. So here I am having a second fight, trying to get the battery out. I'm not a big lad, you know, but I can't even get my fingers down there. So again, a little bit more perseverance and do it a bit more and just figure it out. What in the hell have I done to deserve this? It has been a week. So round 2. Here we go. And I use some short nose pliers this time. Long nose pliers, short nose pliers. And just a bit of patience. Excuse me, big head. Just reach down. Now on the bottom of the actual Torx bolt, underneath it is a rubber washer. So if you pull the nut or the Torx bolt, it'll actually lift out in one piece. It won't just fall back down. And now I thought we could pull it out without any problems. And you pretty much can. Oops, I forgot to put those nuts aside. Sorry about that. There is a bleed valve, not a bleed valve, there's a drain off hose as well on the right hand side. And there's this electronic connector which was so stealthily hidden, I forgot to remove it. So it lets you just push down. I think I'm making a bit of a meal of this. You literally push the tab down and then pull it out. And now, can we pull it out? Yes, success. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a look at what the tray looks like and what you're working with. And there we are. And there is the old battery. So here we have the old battery against the new battery, pretty much a direct replacement. I will put the description in the description box below what it actually is. It's a VARTA, so a good brand, but the patterns are identical. You've got all the same shapes in all the same places, no having to think about rerouting wires or finding the vent hose hole on the top of the battery to one side and then have to move things. No. Now we're going to remove the terminal clamps. These are a bit fancy compared to the old days, and they've got some extra bits on them, as you've already seen. Not a big job. Again, Mr. 10mm socket, the one that always gets lost. That's the one we're going to need. And here they are, side by side. And this is again an AGM battery. So as it came, I think we got off eBay for about £138, which I think is a flipping great deal compared to the quote of, what's it, 268 from Mercedes. So it comes with covers, they just pull off naturally. So there's Mr. 10mm socket, and we're just going to get to work now removing the terminal clamps from both sides. So the reason why we decided to swap the battery out is my neighbour, bless him, was complaining that sometimes it was taking a while to crank over, and it's a 2017 car, so what is that? It's about 7 years old. So we thought we'd better be safe than sorry, and they're on the mature side, so I just wanted to make it as reliable and efficient, so it's not going to break down and cause them any trouble or any worries. So again, top tip, if you line them up side by side and just pay attention to how the terminals go on, again, it really isn't rocket science, and just swap them over so that they look the same. And if you're unsure, take a photograph of the old battery and where the positioning of the terminal connectors are and how they clamp on. And that's it. So I sort of sped that up a little bit. So we're over halfway through now. and obviously I stopped bits and pieces here and there to make make the video. Top tip, you can use a big screwdriver to sply open the terminal block that you're connecting. Sometimes they don't go all the way down to the base of the battery, so just use a screwdriver. And here it's good standard practice to put a bit of grease on the top of the battery. Apparently it helps in the winter time maintain a good cohesion and a good electrical connection. I don't know how truthful that is, but I've always done it, I've always seen it, so I'm going to do it. So now we're just going to pop it all back together in the same way that we took it out, but obviously in reverse. I'm just going to pop in the breather hose as well. You can see the hole there. Looks a bit like the breather hole there, just in the center of the top, just below the VARTA battery logo name. And there it is there. Cool. So with that in mind, then you just do the reverse struggle, and you can see now how much easier it is to do this without that bonnet in place. Just make sure the battery cables are pulled or pushed or bent to one side. You don't really want to snag those things in there and bend them. Just take your time. Just take your time. There's no rush. It really is a simple process. It just looks daunting to some people, and I can understand why everyone has a bit of a trepidation about electrics. So now we're just going to put the plate back in, and again that Torx bolt, that rusty bolt on the underneath of that plate has a rubber washer, and that holds it to the plate, so it's not going to fall out. Oh my god, if that fell out it would be a nightmare. But no, that doesn't happen. So again, if you have something magnetic, that would be great. You could just offer it into place. But again, I'm going to use Mr. Trusty Long Nose pliers and try. I wasn't too bad. I'm going to try and just locate it back into place. And this is what stops the battery from rattling around when you're driving, and keeps it all securely bolted down and in place. It's just a little bit of trial and error, a bit of patience. It was at this point now it started to threaten to rain, so I did get a bit of a wriggle on, and I thought, oh my god, I hope to god it doesn't rain, because I don't want to be filming in the wet. So there we go, very simple, just the reverse of taking it out and putting it back in. Don't over tighten, just literally wait to pinch up and give it another quarter turn. When you can't turn it without much resistance, just give it another little turn, and there you go, that's not going anywhere. So oh yeah, I left my Torx bit in the nut. So just making sure that that breather hose is routed correctly. Just give it a little push down. Just make sure it can flow freely when let the battery breathe. Next is to connect the again, do it all in reverse. Connect the live terminals to the terminal clamp using the 10mm socket and the two nuts that you took off earlier. Again, don't over tighten, just tighten them up, and then a little nip, a little quarter turn again. Same with the earth, and as you can see, no sparks if you do it in that order. It's the way I've always done it. If anyone does it any differently, feel free to comment below. So just to prove it worked, I start the car up, and there it goes. Now, sometimes people say it doesn't, the media system doesn't come on, and this is a premium, so you got the nice tom-tom unit. And oh my dear, the clock, it's not connecting. Oh my dear. So I literally just pressed the home button twice, switched it on, and then it found this SD card, and it starts loading up the map. So I'm just going to leave it running so you can see in real time that the missing time does come back, and you have to wait for the SD card to fully install. And the time, again, as you all know if you have one already, are those two lines at the top right hand corner of the screen. Keep watching, keep watching. Anytime now in this corner, and there you go, done. So we know it starts, and it did start really quickly without any hesitation. We know the media center works because we tried it. Pop the red live terminal cover back on, and then it's just a case of putting the service hatch cover or the bonnet or the hood back on the car. I did have to get my glamorous assistant Neil, whose wife's car this is, to give me a hand just so I didn't drop it and damage any of the paintwork. The washer hose, by the way folks, went on far more easily than it came off. It literally just slid on. Now what you need to do next is, again in reverse, pop the straps on. Be mindful they do have, they don't go on straight, so they don't go on flat. You do have to give them a bit of a turn. So when you do take it off, pay attention to how the straps look. I'll see if I can capture it from here. So making sure that the washer hose is routed properly. And again, it's the number 10 Torx, and it's as simple as that. And again, don't over tighten, just do it until you get resistance, and then nip it up a quarter of a turn. Same on the other side. Do need to get a little bit closer. Now when you do offer the hood, bonnet, service hatch cover, whatever you want to call it, back up to the car, remember how you take it out. You know, it literally just slides back a little. There are two lugs on each side, and so long as you offer it back in the way that you took it out, it will slide back in as smooth as butter. You can sort of make out the lugs, one where my left hand is, and then about 8 inches below there's that other lug. And if you watch, there you go. Don't push it, don't force anything. So there we are, one battery installed. It must have taken half an hour at the most. Lock it back up and cup of tea time.